thank you everybody. I'm very happy to be here. It's the first time I speak in OW2 conference. My presentation is about Koha, a worldwide vibrant community that is 25 years old. So the first slide, just to introduce myself, even if you did it already. I just wanted to emphasize Bibliber is a company dedicated to open source for libraries. And when I say libraries here, I'm talking mostly to IT people, but I'm not talking about IT libraries. I'm talking about libraries with books. You know, this very old thing that appeared 6 centuries ago. So we are focusing only on open source software, and we are focusing only on libraries and the business software libraries are using every day. So Koha. Koha is a software who started on the other side of the world in New Zealand in 1999. And a first version of the software has been released in January 2000. And it was the first open source ILS. ILS is a word you probably never heard of, except if you work in a library. It means integrated library system. It's the main software every library in the world is using. It's a library to manage how we acquire a book, how we manage our users. We call it patrons in libraries, and how we circulate books. So we check out, we check in, we can place a book, place a booking on the document, etc., etc. Just one word about the word Koha. Koha is a Maori word, which is very meaningful. It means a gift, a contribution. Koha used to be something when you wanted to visit another tribe in New Zealand, you came with a koha. Okay, it's something that is not exact. Well, the word has no exact translation. So let's use the word Koha, and it's perfect. The first year of Koha was dedicated to going in production in the first 4 very small rural public libraries in New Zealand, and then releasing a version 1 under the GPL license. And at this time in the world, it was the first full web ILS. Every other ILS was first proprietary, and then it was needing a client on the desktop. It was the first full web ILS. So now I will do 25 years in 2 slides. So the first slide is for the first 10 years. It was the beginning of the internationalization of the Koha community. The first 2 years there were just a couple of new developers joining the starting community. So the first 4 were New Zealand. The first 4 persons who contributed the software were from New Zealand, then 1 guy from Canada, then 1 from Poland, then me from France. And in the next 7 years, other countries and other developers joining the effort. You see here on the graph that at the end of 2010, there were more than 100 developers. We also started to add some tools in order to translate the software, because the first version were not translatable, because it was done for New Zealand and they speak English and they were happy with that. And we also added a very important feature that was supporting the MARC standard. Once again, you've never heard of the MARC standard, but in the libraries world, everybody knows what is MARC. There are several flavors of MARC, UniMARC, MARC 21. And a software can't become a major player in the libraries world if it does not support MARC. So we added this feature during the first years. It was also the time where a few companies were founded and were started around Koha in order to provide professional services on it. So they are mentioned here. So LibLime in US, BibLib in France, PTFS Europe in UK, Bywater Solution in US a little bit after LibLime. And we also started to organize a community. So, for example, we decided to be based on feature-based release. When you have several people working and developing feature, the question is how do you provide a new version and stable version to everybody? And we had a debate on there are several features being developed. When do we release a new version? And we decided to have a feature-based release. So we decide which feature will be in the next version, and it's released when it's ready. So at this time, there were only a couple, maybe, of software, and it was easy to do the list of feature we wanted to have in the next version. We also started communication on IRC, and we developed some tools to be a welcoming community, like a wiki, like a bug tracker, etc., etc. Then after this first step, you see here 2010 to today, Koha became really widely adopted. Thanks probably to the, first, it's a good software, it's a good piece of software. Secondly, we developed many tools who were helpful in order to have people joining the community and adopting Koha. And last year, at the end of last year, we had more than 500 contributors. So more than 500 people who made some new feature or bug fix in Koha. Koha is more than 50, translated in more than 50 languages, including some indigenous ones. So of course, Koha exists in Maori, but also in some other very uncommon languages. And that's something very important because it also means that translated versions does not rely on any economical or business decision. It just relies on there is someone who thinks it is important to have a translation in this language, and he can do it. We also define some workflows for contributing, QAing, translating, releasing, documenting. I have some slides about it to give more details and to explain what is very common and what is different in the Koha community. Progressively, Koha became a major actor in the library business. Of course, it's an open source software, so we can't know exactly how many libraries are using it, but we are sure that it is the most widely used software for libraries all around the world. There are probably more than 20,000 libraries using it all around the world. For example, all public libraries in Argentina, all public libraries in Turkey, several national libraries, not the French one, but for example, the National Library of Finland, the National Library of Greece, and several other. I think there are something like 10. It is the second software in French universities. You probably don't know it, but more than about 20 universities, libraries are using Koha, and there are 120-something universities in France. And it is the first software in Greek universities, just another number. There are 25 universities in Greece, and 22 are using Koha. And there are support companies all around the world. You see a list here of countries where there is a company supporting Koha and able to help any library installing it and maintaining and supporting and having a business proposal on it. I switched. And I concentrate on community organization because otherwise I won't have time enough. What makes a community like the Koha community successful? There are three parts of it. One of it, not the most important, but I put it in first. It's having tools and maintaining tools and providing tools to volunteers and to people who want to join the community. So still the beginning, we have a Bugzilla. It's still here, so we have a lot of tickets on Bugzilla. Many of them are still open, but most of them, fortunately, are closed now. We also have a wiki. Our wiki is probably 17 years old, I think. We have the source code available, of course, at the beginning. For those who are in the open source world for a long time, you maybe remember SourceForge and CVS. Then we moved to Savannah CVS, then to Git, and now we are still using Git. We have our own Git server. We just copy it on GitHub in order to make it more available widely. We also have a tool for translating Koha. First it was something homemade, then we switched to POULAIN. Maybe you know this software. I think it is now abandoned. Now we are on Web8. For maybe 5 or 6 years, we have Jenkins as automated integration tool. And we used IRC for communicating. And now we use Mattermost. And we also have a Jitsi regular meeting. I will say something about it later. So all those tools, and that's something that is, and here I start to emphasize on something that is very specific to the Koha community, according to me. All those tools are maintained and paid by volunteers. Mostly that's companies who are doing business on Koha, but not only. We also have some volunteers, some personal volunteers who manage one of those tools and say, okay, I will take care of Web8. The community organization is also a matter of people, of course, and that's probably, well, that is the most important part. We have regular monthly meeting. At the beginning, it was meeting on IRC, which is not the handiest way of having meetings. Now we use Jitsi. So we have a web meeting, webconf meeting. One challenge with our meeting is the time, because we have people from New Zealand, Australia, Europe, US, Argentina, Canada. So there is always someone sleeping. So there is always someone waking up very early, or depending on the time of the meeting. We change the time of the meeting every month, depending on the time of the meeting. Sometimes there is almost no one from Europe, but next meetings, people from Europe will be there. We also organize a worldwide meeting. We call it the Koha Conference. The first one was in Paris, and it is now every year. And the next one will be in New Zealand to celebrate the 25 years of Koha. And since 2012, we organize a Hackfest in Marseille. Because Bibli is located in Marseille. We organize a Hackfest. It's 1 week for coding, testing, documenting, and that's also something someone said previously. We have a very interesting community where we have both developers and librarians and users. So of course, that's users who are loving technology, but they are definitely not developers. But they join us for the Hackfest. And it is very nice to see people saying, every morning we say, who want to work on what? And someone say, I want to work on this. And if it's a librarian, for example, 2 developers say, okay, let's go, we will work on it. Or a developer say, okay, I want to show this new feature or this idea I have. could one librarian join me and have a look at what I'm planning to work on? This year, it was in April, as every year, we were more than 50 at the Hackfest. The Koha-con, there is usually something like 200 people. The Koha community is a matter of people. We decided to elect people. So we are a kind of democracy, except usually we have just one candidate for each role. So it's easy to vote. So we have some elected roles like the release manager, release maintainers, the QA team, and those elected roles, and there are many others. I've just named 3 of them, but there are many others. Those people are a mix of paid for profit, paid for non-profit, and volunteers. Paid for profit, it means working for a private for-profit company like Biblib. Paid non-profit, that's people who are working for a library or a non-profit sector, including, for example, we have one Catholic and one Orthodox monk who contributed to Koha a little bit. And we have volunteers who are people who are just contributing just for fun. Here is the list of the major contributor to Koha with the percentage of code they have into Koha. I will go back to the first one in a couple of seconds. So you see Biblib by Water, we have 13% of the code, and we are for profit. Then MyACPL, which is a library in US, they have 8.5%. OpenFIF, which is a new name of PTFS Europe, is 8%. You see, most of the code comes from for-profit organization, but a real part of it comes also for non-profit. Just one thing about Jonathan. Jonathan used to be a Biblib employee, and 8 years ago, I think, he said, well, I'd like to work just for the community. And at this time, Biblib was a little bit too small, so it was hard for me just to fund it myself, to work just for the community. So I spoke with Bywater and OpenFIF people, asking if they were okay to fund Jonathan just to work for the community. Before, outside from Jonathan, adding a feature into Koha usually means it's added by someone volunteer or added by someone, by a company that is paid by a library to add a feature. Jonathan is not working for this kind of thing. Jonathan is just asking in the global interest of the community. And he started to work 8 years ago, and he's still working almost full-time for the Koha community. Third thing, I said first is tool, second is people, and the third is workflow. We have defined strong workflow. I think I consider workflow being the glue between people and tools. We have well-defined workflows to attribute a role every 6 months, to validate and integrate a patch into the next version, to take important decision. We vote in some cases, whether either the decision is technical or non-technical. So we try to be a welcoming community and to have, even if we have no foundation or no funder, no major company who is funding and behind the project, we are very well organized. We are entirely based on goodwill, but everybody understands the win-win situation. If I tried as Biblib to capture Koha, first, I will fail for sure. But second, I will not have as much as by contributing to the community. Okay, for-profit contributor, we contribute and we improve our skill, our notoriety and legitimacy to get business on Koha. Libraries, they need service, so they know we are part of the community, so they trust us, so they sign contract with us. I often say we are free software men that do business, we are not businessmen that do free software. Non-profit contributors, they contribute, of course, and they get everything contributed. And I see I'm late, so I'm going fast. And volunteer, usually they are involved for a short time, but they get the whole. We have almost 400 contributors that have less than 10 patches in Koha. My last slide, so I'm not too late. Koha is a very mature example of a free software. We are a strong and united community. We have a strong technical and non-technical guidelines and workflow. We have a professional developments, and we have still many challenges. Of course, I couldn't speak about it, but we are facing proprietary software. But we made our path in the libraries world for more than 25 years now, and I think we will continue for 25 other years. Thank you.